Everyone, Chloe here, and welcome back to the New Feminine platform. And a happy late new year to all of you who are tuning in. And if you are a new subscriber to our feminine community, then hello and hi and welcome. So, I wanted to kick off the new year with some much needed fresh content about this year's theme, which is masculinity and polarity. And more importantly, I wanted to create a video to spark a conversation with my audience for women to learn how to better spot the masculine energy in the room. And overall, how to spot a masculine man when you see one. Because although we will often discuss hypergamy and relationship dynamics a lot on this channel, and I will continue to do so, a lot of women tend to confuse a man's financial success with the level of his masculinity, when there is so much more to the masculine divine. And being able to spot the quality of a man's masculinity is definitely a rite of passage for the feminine woman. And even though there is a lot of get to the bag and gobs of hypergamous content floating around on the internet, there needs to be a conversation had on knowing how to spot a healthy masculine divine in the dating and marriage marketplace that is mature, secure, and focused and responsible and goal-oriented versus childish, stagnant, toxic, underdeveloped, and emotionally arrested, especially when there are a ton of overgrown deflection bums, rich dusties, echo chamber cyberbullies, and performative masculine frauds out there who are waiting to take advantage of you because of your inexperience and your blind spots when it comes to masculinity. Because a lot of women who are on the feminine journey do not know a thing about men. Now, when it comes to the masculine divine, the assignment, although not always easy for a man to execute, is very simple. And that is to provide and protect and to successfully compete with other men. As when it comes to men, ladies, iron can only sharpen iron. I repeat, iron can only sharpen iron. That is why it is not a woman's job to teach a man masculinity. And that is also why a man could never teach you how to be feminine. So your quality man will need to be surrounded by other productive, successful, and or ambitious men to be at his very best. Otherwise, his masculinity growth will be stagnant, stunted, and very slow. This is why traditionally sports has always been so important to men, because it teaches men how to compete with each other. And it also teaches men that when they lose, to learn the lesson so that they can come back stronger and live to fight another battle. Not to go home and to turn into domestic abuse punks who slap their wives and girlfriends around and, God forbid, take their lives. Now, this piece of wisdom that I am about to share is key, ladies, but if you need to, write this down in your notes or in your journals. And I already made a video on this, but when a man is at his best, his job is to build more than he destroys. And when I say destroy, this means destroying his family, his children, and his community. And this is why when men choose to destroy more than they build, and a lot of clowns online are building altars of hate against women, in the long run, they tend to always have bad luck, and they tend to leave behind a pretty shameful legacy. And we already know that deadbeat men who don't take care of their kids tend to have the worst luck, as being a father is a huge masculine divine responsibility and assignment that, when ducked and dodged, comes with severe spiritual consequences, even when they don't like the women that they've knocked up. And this assignment of building over destroying also applies to the very out of order men of the red pill manosphere who cry all day about women by using the very redundant and played out blame game. And that is why Diddy's nasty work covert energy has finally caught up to him, because he used his masculinity to destroy more than he used it to build. But men who follow the order of God, man, woman, and child, which equals the circle of life and the foundation of family, and the men who choose to follow this order tend to unsurprisingly fare very well in their manhood, their relationships, and more importantly, the legacy that they leave behind, because they are 100% clear about their masculine duty and their masculine responsibility. And the less a man follows this order, and I am not talking about 25-year-old and under younger men who are going to make mistakes and who are still learning the masculine ropes of life. But when a man is out of order, especially as he ages, the more garbage and the more low value and the more vile and the more bitter and the more unattractive that he tends to be. even when he has money. And the more that he exposes himself when he is out of order, the more a man's masculinity will read as weak, directionless, stagnant, immature, confused, and will read as a very stifled manhood that will eventually catch up to him in ways that he could never imagine. Cough, Drake, cough, which will set him up to be not very valuable in the dating and marriage marketplace, even when he has money. So let's first start off this conversation with this Joe Blow clip that was sent to me by several members of the Hive, and shout out to the Hive, where a man shares his thoughts on being in his masculine and knowing his masculine role.
So I just had a woman invite me out to dinner. She picked my favorite restaurant. She doesn't know that, and I'd quite like to go. Unfortunately, I decline. And the reason being is because if I was to accept the invitation, I would be surrendering and submitting, and she'd be dropping me into my feminine, which is unacceptable. Instead, I had to step into my masculine and decline the offer and say I was busy, when I'm actually just sitting here making this video instead. Re-invite her another time to another restaurant that neither of us will enjoy, thus me stepping into my masculine and dropping her into her feminine. She will not be dropping me into my feminine, I'll be dropping her into her feminine as I am stepping into my masculine. Because if she's submitting, she will respect me. If I'm submitting to her and dropping into my feminine and she's stepping into her masculine, she will resent me and she won't respect me. Thus, I have to step over her masculine and drop her again into her feminine. You get it?
Now, looks can be deceiving, but this man does not even look fully financially ready to hypergamously take care of anyone, let alone a nuclear family of 4. But at least he is keenly aware of how not to put himself in a situation where he could possibly be man or mouse disrespected or turned into an errand boy, and more importantly, emasculated. And for that level of masculine self-awareness, I highly commend him, as there are lots of crash test dummies out here who want to have tantrums.
What's up, baby? Take me out to dinner.
Hey, yo!
And who want to argue you down about provision and role reversal, and who confusingly want to be courted, and who are seeking out women who will carry the brunt of the load, while at the same time wanting both worship and respect, which is the epitome of the spirit of confusion. So at the bare minimum, at least, he is a man who on a base level understands the importance of protecting his masculinity. So ladies, take notes and think about what you are doing before you step into your masculine to ask a man out on a date. Now, not shockingly, this clip produced a lot of salty tears and a lot of status quo pushback and a lot of crashing out in the comments when it comes to understanding the role of polarity in the success of a relationship, because a lot of people are simply not aware of the fact that every relationship has power dynamics. But no matter how many men or women want to put up their dukes and argue about wiring, polarity will always reign supreme when it comes to romance. And the lack of polarity will always cause a relationship to crash and burn, as we have seen in countless case studies on this channel, with the most recent one being Remy Ma and her beta male husband Papoose, where the respect has been completely lost. And in response, instead of stepping into his masculine, Papoose unfortunately decided to run to an even more masculine presenting woman in the boxer Clarissa Shields. So to my feminine ladies, and to the women who are standing in their soft power, and to the women who are more committed to the feminine principle of being a lover over a fighter, when you are entertaining a man or even examining the manhood of your own father or your brothers or the men in your family, ask yourself, are they in order or out of order? And do you respect the men in your family as masculine leaders? Are they performing their masculine duty, or are they terrible role models? Are the men in your family more interested in being stand-up men for their families, or are they interested in dragging women or being in their feminine and receiving? Now let's focus on another spirit of confusion TikTok brain clip that preaches the opposite.
I think the best relationships, the relationships that last the longest, is when the female is more dominant than the man. I know y'all gonna get in my comments and be like, what? But it's something about that woman being real dominant and mean that's gonna have that man acting right. Like, I have seen it too many times. Like, I can name so many relationships where it's like that. Like, the woman, she don't play no games. She real dominant. And the man is more like passive, yeah, baby, go along with her. Those are the best relationships. Like, I feel like when you real soft and you a lover girl it's something about a man that's just gonna dog that. Like, he gonna take advantage. Like, it's just that dog in him. He gonna just take advantage of it. That's how I feel. I know y'all gonna get in the comments and be like, no, it's not like that. You know, we want somebody feminine. No, y'all don't. No, y'all don't. I just, no, y'all don't. Y'all don't. I'm telling you, the best, the ones that has lasted, I'm talking about 10 plus years relationships, has been that woman who don't play no games. And I'm not saying, you know, you should just be mean to your man or whatever like that. But I'm just saying what I have seen work. That's it. That's all.
So, ladies, with this woman's wearing the pants mindset, I ask of you, is this what you want? Do you want to be in a relationship where a man submits to you and where you are carrying the heavy load? And is your man's masculinity important to you when you are in a relationship, or would you rather be the boss of a weak man? Now, I wanted to wrap up this masculinity conversation with a bow by briefly touching upon the leftover fumes of Drake's masculinity, which has been a huge conversational blind spot in this rapper's overall giant L. But if you have eyes, we have all witnessed the battle of all battles between both Drake and Kendrick Lamar, and what is often not discussed in how Drake lost this battle is Drake's utter lack of masculinity. And even with all of his online posturing, the 7th grade stunts, and his passive aggressive repeated attempts to create post Not Like Us music, none of his arrogant jerk antics are sticking, and he is basically grasping at straws, including the filing of his very frivolous lawsuit to regain some sense of normalcy. And it is so obvious that Drake has not had any positive male role models in his life, because what we are witnessing with Drake, even though we love so much of his music, is a huge narcissistic collapse, because what he doesn't seem to understand is that he is losing and will continue to lose because he doesn't know how to fight man to man. But instead, he has over-relied upon and continues to rely on moving erratic and snake-like and untrustworthy, and he cannot put down these slimy chess moves of attacking people's families and sleeping with his mentor's woman and sleeping with the women of his ops and sharing pillow talk on Serena and Rihanna and throwing women under the bus and overall moving like a scorned, bitter, and spiteful homewrecker and moving like a tatted up fatherless weirdo who is completely lost in his feminine. And until he learns how to find his masculine voice, and I am not talking to you stans who live vicariously through Drake's manufactured success, y'all can go argue with the skid marks in your drawers, but BBL Drizzy is definitely going to have a hard time gaining the respect of masculine men and gaining back the full-on admiration of his female audience, who for the most part is looking at him very differently, or who can no longer look at him the same because his lack of masculinity has been completely exposed. And as long as he continues to use whackademics and other social media proxies to do his psychic violence dirty work, the more he will continue to spiral into a vortex of some of the weakest masculinity that we have ever heard on wax. So the soft power theme for 2025, ladies, is to ask yourself, where is the masculinity? And do I want to participate in a relationship with a man who doesn't know why he is here on this earth? So that is all that I have to say on this for now. The direction that music will be going in this year will be very interesting to watch. But to open up the conversation floor, as women are stepping more and more into their feminine, are women more hungry for masculinity, or are they just hungry for money? Do you think that Drake presents more like a masculine man or a mouse? And can a woman really ever respect a man that she fully controls? And as always, I thank you for liking, for watching, for subscribing, and for sharing the Feminine School videos on this platform. And as always, remember that there is no feminine journey without self-love. So please stay tuned for more videos to come, and I will catch up with you ladies and lurkers and ear hustlers in the next one.
Excuse me, sir. You look very confident. What makes you confident?
Say God, man. In all actuality, I'm nothing without God. God is what makes me confident, man.
Wow. Were you
Yes.
always a believer in God?
Always.
Yeah?
Always.
Did you have a moment in your life where you saw, okay, this is God doing?
My wife and my beautiful baby boy. Not my doing. I give all glory to God.
Wow. Beautifully said.
Thank
and was
you.
there a goal you set for yourself last year that you achieved?
Yeah. That was to have my son, grow my family, continue to build my relationship with God, cherish my friendships, I am blessed for every single day that God wakes me up, man. You know, this is God right now.
It is.
This is God right now.
Everything happens for a reason. Yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah. And last question,
Yes, sir.
advice to your younger self.
Everything's already inside of you. It's all inside of you. You don't lack, you don't need anything. God has given you every single resource. It's all inside of you. And you don't need to lean on the understanding of this world. You know, the Bible says that, you know, you must renew your mind each and every single day, you know, and not to conform by this world. So renew your mind, get out of your own way, and trust and believe everything is going to be fine, man. That's the advice that I'll give my younger self. That's the advice that I'm still giving myself today.
Wow, thank you so. Wow. I have no words, but thank you for inspiring me. What was
Absolutely.
your name?
My name is Martel, man.
Martel?
Yes,
David,
sir.
pleasure to meet you.
Absolute pleasure.
It's a
Thank
great
you so
pleasure.
much.
You want more from a man, you have to do less for him. I know how that sounds, but I'm giving you the game, like for real. Listen, it's because of how men are wired. We are wired to invest in people and things we value. So when a woman does more for a man, she actually flips the script. She flips the value scale. And he begins to think he is the prize. He is the valued one because she's investing in him. So she loses her value. I mean, tell me the truth. Come on now. When you have given more or done more for a man, has he not done less for you? In fact, has he not neglected you? Yeah. Listen, I'm not saying not to do anything for a man. What I'm saying is don't match what he does for you. Not until he puts a ring on your finger. Then you can renegotiate that contract.